All right, now we're going to do some sorting of the graphs over here for number 10. I'm just going to include number 10 also. And then I copied a picture of the graphs from up here. I just literally copied a picture of it and put it down here. Okay, so you don't see these. You only just have all of your graphs that you have on your worksheet. But I just copied and pasted it so I could record it better, okay? So here's the first 3 graphs and number 10, and we're going to read these instructions. Sort graphs into groups. Write the number of the graph in the group box. Some graphs belong to more than one group. So you might see, for example, number 5 fits here and fits there and fits there or something like that, okay? So if that happens, you're still probably right. Okay, so with that being said, let me clarify again what an absolute maximum looks like. Absolute maximum looks like if you took an ice cream cone and flipped it upside down. So it's like that. It's got a top point. Or it can look like a curvy hill, but it's still got a top point. That's an absolute maximum. Absolute minimums look like that, or like that. It can be curvy or pointy, but an absolute minimum is on the very bottom, okay? Increasing only, remember we're doing left to right, so it goes upwards. Decreasing only goes downwards towards the right. Continuous graph means it's made of a line, so like I'll just draw a squiggly line. And discrete graph is made of polka dots. Okay? A smooth curve is like when it's bendy. Oops, why does that look so weird? Let's do that again. Like that, here's a smooth curve. And linear is straight lines, maybe it has corners, okay? So linear, zigzag, smooth curves like a wave, really smooth, okay? Now let's get started sorting. Let's take a look at let's take a look to see if any of these 4 graphs that are over here, do any of them have an absolute maximum? Take a look. Do they have a high point? That's absolutely the highest point ever. Now I think some of you might take a look over here and be like, oh, is that an absolute maximum? Well, actually in this case, no, because if you take a look at the end over here, you see the arrow? That arrow means this graph continues going upwards. So that arrow means that the line keeps going and going and going. Now, do you see that this line over here is much taller than this point over here, that corner point? Since the line continues to be taller than this point is not an absolute maximum, okay? So number 3, number 2, no absolute maximum. Number 1, this is number 1, there's no absolute maximum. Number 10, there's no absolute maximum. Okay, so we have nothing to put in this box right now, but when you sort the rest of the graphs, you will probably find something for this box. Now let's talk about the absolute minimum box. For the absolute minimum box, do we see anything that might fit there? So I think some of you might think that this fits as an absolute minimum, but I want to remind you, look on the left end, what do you see there? It's an arrow. That arrow means it keeps going on forever and ever and ever, lower and lower and lower, which means that this is not a minimum, okay? This is higher than this arrow, and this arrow is going to continue going lower, so this dot, that giant blob, cannot possibly be a minimum when the arrow goes lower. Okay, minimum has to be the lowest. So this blob is not the lowest, this blob is not a minimum. Okay, let's erase some of those markings. Okay, another thing you might think is here a minimum? Nope, because it's flat and also there's an arrow. The arrow keeps going down, downwards forever, so this is not a minimum. So we don't have anything to put in here, but later on when you sort it, you will. Let's take a look for this box, increasing only. So we want to read all the graphs from left to right. So if I start on number 10, and I start going from left to right, if I were tracing it, my pen would go upwards, and only upwards. Do I ever go down? No. So number 10 matches for increasing only. What about number 1? Let's take a look at number 1, this blue graph. we start off kind of flat-ish. I don't know why I can't trace properly. And then we go upwards. So let me tell you that this is increasing only. Even though it looks flat over here, it's actually just very slightly increasing just a little bit every single time. I know you can't see it, so I need you to take my word for it. This is increasing only. So we put number 1 over here. What about number 2? Is number 2 increasing at all? No, number 2 is just straight up decreasing, okay? So this is not increasing only. And what about number 3? It goes increase, flat. Flat means constant, and then increase again. But since it has a constant section, it is not increasing only. Okay, let's take a look at this box for decreasing only. We kind of already hinted at it. It's number 2. It just goes straight down. And when I say down, I mean we're reading it from left to the right side. Just like English, you want to read the graph from left to right, okay? So number 2 is decreasing only. What about continuous graph? So another way to think about continuous graph is it's all connected, or if you were to trace it, you don't have to lift up your pencil. So take a look at 1, 2, and 3. Those are all continuous graphs. And on the other hand, take a look at number 10, which is a discrete graph. So put that in there, and do you see the difference between those lines? One is made of dots, and one is made of lines, okay? So dots, discrete. Think of D for dots. And then continuous is just you continue to draw the line. All right, let's go to smooth curve. Curve means it's bendy, okay? Is number 10 bendy? No, it's a straight line. It's stick straight. Number 1, is 1 bendy? Yes, 1 is bendy. Is number 2 bendy? No, it's a straight line. Is number 3 bendy? No, it's got corners in it. That's like literally the opposite of bendy. It's straight and there are corners to it. So that means 10, 2, and 3 are linear. They are made of straight lines, okay? So I know I didn't really give you guys a chance to do this one, but I wanted to work through all of it together with you. So now you can sort 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 into this chart. And if you have any questions, make sure you ask, because I prefer that you ask questions, okay? I want you guys to understand. All right, good luck.